be with you. Oh, that's getting better. Hey, it's working. Oh, well, maybe I should go this way. That's the first, y'all. That's weird, right? Oh, wait, hold on. So weird. Tell me I don't look special, right? Oh, look how much colors I have going, too. Well, I'm back from the store, guys. It's your favorite fruit. Rolled up. I'm back. And I brought 3 wishes with me. Whenever I go to the grocery store, y'all, I just kind of meander. I forgot my headphones. Usually I put headphones in. I started doing that. So I get like an epic shopping playlist, and whatever vibes I'm feeling, that's what I buy. But now I had to be a little more responsible, and I had to buy Getty. I bought her chicken nuggets. I bought her Texas style chicken nuggets. I don't know, cause right, I'm trying to raise her like a human, treat her like a human, right? It's very challenging, y'all. I'm just shopping for one other person now, and it's really challenging. I'm just like, wow, this sucks. But I want to talk about how extraordinary men are. Because I realize, y'all, it's very obvious how extraordinary the women are, okay? Yes. But now let's talk about how cool the dudes are. We're gonna hype up the dudes. I keep forgetting about the men. So, apologies. Right? Like you guys, I only, my mind's more geared towards the women than the men. But I wanted to demonstrate how extraordinary men are too. Also, and that's why I'm delivering a tropical punch, right? In this cool green can. It is like kind of symbolic of like, what time of the year is it? It's not Christmas, the season of giving, the giving of words, my LDS membership. Okay. Look, I even brought this. I brought all my favorite props, y'all. Look. See? And I brought 3 wishes. Right? Guys, is this not the greatest thing that's happened to LDS? Now we can like tag team, people. And help you guys like propagate whatever, what is you guys are trying to do. So, this person, these are my shrimp crackers. I bought shrimp crackers. They're really good because they don't actually taste like shrimp. I guess when people perceive shrimp, I think of like a fishy taste or something like that. Like, like you're eating like a fish cracker or something. It's not like that, but it does have a subtlety. The crunch is really good. I really like the crunch texture. It's very unique. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Sorry. But I want to talk about how awesome Mormon men are, okay? Like, y'all are extraordinary. I'm just letting you guys be aware, right? Because of different perception, the things that I have brought up in with my awareness being like, hey, you guys say that like separate but equal, or the equality thing that occurs, or we have, they're like, women are sacred and reverent. Well, from the outside looking in, guys, it doesn't look good. It does not look like that based on the historical record and the actions that are being demonstrated. Because if you look at the big boys at the top, the tippy top, right? Right? Boys like the tip. For people to say and perceive that, yes, women are equal and have equal opportunity, I said, yes, okay, I agree. But your record doesn't agree. Because if your record did agree, it wouldn't show a lineage of only men. And also, the record doesn't agree because no one found it odd that the pronouns are all a certain gender. The majority of pronouns, someone can run the statistical analysis on it if they desired. Okay. I would assume humanity was smart enough to be aware that the utilization of the word man back in those days represented like all of mankind. That's why, like, when Neil Armstrong, was it Neil Armstrong or Lance Armstrong? Hold on. Neil Armstrong. Lance is a different guy. Lance is a bicycler. Y'all, these names are hard to keep up with. That's why when Neil Armstrong went to the moon, he said, sorry, this is like really sticky and really good. I did not pick a good thing to eat when I was doing this. Nor to drink. It doesn't even taste good. It's exotic and unfamiliar. Actually, it tasted actually really good after the fruit roll-up, because the sweetness of the fruit roll-up, where it kind of like sticks to your mouth, and then like the bitterness of this, there's like a little, like not bitterness, tartness. That's a good blend. I like that. That was good. Okay, I digress. What was I talking about? Anyway, we'll get into men, about how extraordinary men are. Oh man, it's gonna bother me. What was I talking about? Darn. Oh well. So we're gonna talk about this YouTuber, or this person, right? So I'm just gonna start the email over, because we're gonna talk about how extraordinary men are. Because we're gonna talk about men, Mormon men. Yay. Just wanted to send a quick email and say thank you for your willingness to do your own research into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. I've been uploading content on social media for the last 15 years, and I'm accustomed to 98% of the people who I interact with calling me either a cult member or a heretic, so it's refreshing to hear when people are willing to take a Book of Mormon, crack open the cover, and dig in. It is actually very rare. I offer the Book of Mormon to 1,000 people. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. The thousands of people on comments and direct messages, and the majority laugh at the thoughts of even touching it, because in their minds, it's obviously a fraud. Okay. You have to think in your head, if you're aware that people perceive that it's obviously a fraud, then what can you do? What type of techniques, what type of thoughts, what type of actions can you demonstrate that will make people be like, to make you people naturally curious, right? Like if you look at like even what has occurred here, the only reason I decided to become an official member is because I saw like how extraordinary the potential was that was within the paradigm, the cognitive potential. Because also, if anyone isn't aware, I'm very intelligent. Okay. And I get cognitively bored. I'm cognitively bored. And so I want to help people invent stuff, innovate stuff. I don't care what it is. Whatever project you're working on, I just want to help people get it done more efficiently so we can get, like the whole world to quit acting like primitive people with all this violence and chaos. Okay? It's just like, I'm over it. So in order to do that, I need to, make friends and demonstrate, right? Because when people see something that is atypical or unusual occurring, however, the people are like, everything's flowing and moving, like, right? Do you know how extraordinary it is when contrast comes together and unites like this? I can't tell people how extraordinary of an opportunity this is going to be, y'all. People, okay, we're past the changing of ways, y'all. Okay? Like, that conversation's done and over with. Utilize this opportunity to demonstrate and show people, holy cow, look what occurs when people approach each other and understand each other, and fear is not present, and there's a safe space where everyone can share their opinions. They can talk about things in an open manner. They can practice discernment. They can upgrade their cognition. They can become aware of more things. They can become aware of their own awareness and how to perceive it and understand it. Okay, all super cool things, right? Oh yeah, I was going off a tangent. So with this person, this dude, with those people that are laughing at you or whatever and not doing that, it's because people haven't been given a reason to give you guys the time of day. Nothing about your actions and words, this might be hard to hear, not really much about your actions and words stands out enough, is atypical enough to make you guys be noticed or make more people want to actually be curious about you in an intrigued way instead of like trying to cover up their curiosity in a harmful way. Does that make sense, right? Because people that are embarrassed or ashamed to express their curiosity are going to present their curiosity utilizing terms such as cult member and heretic, right? Because those are safe terms, those are safe ways for them to approach the subject, right? They're not commenting on your stuff unless there's some sort of thoughts going on, being intrigued by it, right? Being curious about it, right? And they chose you because they thought that perhaps you demonstrated the capability to make them aware that you are aware that they're in a learning opportunity and they're expressing their curiosity. And can you perceive through it, right? Because if you can establish a place where someone feels safe and comfortable, right? Ask them to, if you can't perceive those layers, I was trying to find your, like a YouTube channel. So I was trying to like help out in perceiving those layers or helping people like explore it more. I mean, I've done that with my other like troll comments. I've tried to demonstrate examples of it, guys. But when when you allow people a safe space to like, right, to not feel like they're embarrassed or ashamed, right? Anytime anyone shuts anyone else down, you're demonstrating to that person whatever you have to say is worthless. Whatever you have to, that's a very easy trickle effect to have people going. And that's why a lot of behavior that men utilize and men show for some reason, men, just like question why, like they just question their worth. For some reason, there's this innate thing about them, this innate drive, this innate design during a period of learning. There's an innate design to have like, for lack of a better term, I guess, men to feel worthless, men to seek out value, right? Men to seek out things that make them have value. If that makes sense, right? And that kind of thing, right? If that wasn't in place, if that kind of thought process wasn't in place or hadn't evolved that way, then movement would stagnate, right? Can you imagine if all men didn't feel that way, or like we're just like automatically like thought they were actually great, right? Everything that they're doing right now, look at all the demonstration of the world. What does the world look like when someone's learning? When people are in a very severe, extraordinary state of learning, right? And they're unaware that they've graduated from that learning, but they're still in it. The world gets hectic and chaotic because there's so much dissonance going on, okay? And the reason for that is because people aren't aware of like what is driving their behavior. Men's behavior are innately driven by a need to seek worth and validation a little more so than women do. That's by design, right? Because you need the contrast, because if you have that much going about, right? If you have the men constantly seeking out and creating contrast predominantly, then you need something else to provide some sort of support and stability. And so that's why women or females of the human species innately are more like right-brained, right? If you want to think about it that way, right and left-brained. I like to call it different things. Like men are often I call it curiosity driven. That's why they're oftentimes more aggressive with their behavior too. But again, that mimics behaviors of men trying to assert. It goes back to like just like the primitive mating, like the basic mating rituals or reflexes that men have, like all animals have, all of existence has, right? In order to propagate your species, you have to mate, you have to propagate, you have to make new things, you have to make new of you. So because of that, the men are always in competition, right? To find a mate, to show that they're worthy, right? To be chosen. And so that naturally gets embedded into cognitive thought, right? Because obviously humans have evolved beyond, like mating like animals do, which by the way, is everyone aware, I believe, that dolphins are the only other animal that have intercourse for pleasure, not to actually procreate. They're the only animals that have been documented, I guess, from science, that procreate or that are intimate for reasons other than procreation, for pleasure. And I said, wow, that's cool. Which goes into all sorts of nuances, right? You should look at like, well, what's the rate of success for getting pregnant, right? I'd be curious. Anyways, because then could it be viewed for pleasure? I don't know. Like, what's the definition of like, pleasure sex versus like reproduce sex. Because regardless of what you do, sex always has the risk of reproduction. Unless you like, this cereal does not taste very good. Now that I've had a couple more. It's getting a little bit, this is what I feel like communion crackers taste like. This is worse than eating like the edge of my skin. Like that. Oh, this is not good. Okay. Oh! Y'all, I had a good idea. Okay, sorry, this is my last whimsy tangent. I had a good idea for like the little communion thing. Do you know how much fun and interactive it would be if like maybe like once a year y'all did something like different, like Skittles or something, right? Like switch it up to represent like spring, right? Because I'm pretty sure Jesus had to have been like a mischievous kid or something, right? He had some whimsy stories in there. Y'all can really lean into this, right? To help express that, hey, all are welcome here. Like taste the rainbow, like perceive the vibrancy of life. The symbolism, right? Didn't Jesus kind of like put on those vibes of just like, you know, perceive the colors of the world with the full vibrancy that existence has to offer type, you know, vibe? I think that crossed my mind because I bought a little gingerbread house that I assembled and I ate already. And it had a pack of Skittles with it. So, and then I bought confetti Greek yogurt. It was birthday cake Greek yogurt. Where like a little like the flip thing where you get like flip the little ingredients in there. Yeah, I'm a kid. Like all the colors, right? It makes it's still sacred because look at the symbolism behind it, right? The colors of existence. You can do that after like coming out of spring, right? And you can also like, isn't that when like Jesus comes back to life, right? You can symbolize communion, right? Because he's no longer, he's risen, right? So technically, why would you keep eating his body during those times? Why not switch it up and celebrate with some Skittles? It's so amazing. Such a great, right? You're still keeping the sacredness. You're still keeping the purpose. You're still keeping the symbolism. You're actually making it even deeper because you're symbolizing the resurrection, life, instead of death. Remix, right? Going up. Man, that's such a good idea. Aren't y'all glad? Aren't y'all glad that we discovered each other? I love this partnership. Oh yeah, okay, so I got off track. Y'all, once I love something, I love it. Okay? And if I get bored, then I'll just move on to something else. I'll just do the exact same thing to the Catholics. I'll do the exact same thing to the Lutherans. I'll do the exact same thing to the Muslims. Y'all. So once I love something, I go there, right? I did this to quantum physics. I did this to medicine. What else did I do it to, Yeti? Pooty dooties. I did it to you. And look at, oh yeah, tell that story. I'll wait. I was going to save that for my Fast and Furious. You're right. I forgot about that. Okay. So let me keep going. Yeah, so when people give you those comments, that is an opportunity for anyone out there, right? When you perceive these people hitting at you that have those responses that are obviously like, right, they're very primitive. You can tell when someone's saying something that is obviously not true, right? So why would you engage with it? Because your engagement at that level demonstrates that there's a reason to believe that it's not true, to challenge it. Because that helps people provide contrast. Whenever there's contrast and people engage in contrast in a desired way, that helps them practice or do certain things, right? Or helps so many different layers. But if it's very obvious, right, there's a misunderstanding occurring. So why would you choose to feed into the misunderstanding? Either walk away if you can't navigate it safely or comfortably, or, you know, like it's going to take practice, right? It's going to take practice to do this. You can look through like my entire history of like, if anyone wanted to like really troll me and go through or research, like go through all my stuff, go through all my comments, all over the place, and look at the progression of my cognition from even a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, you know, like whatever you can find. It's so cool. Like, dig it up and use it, man. And we can talk about it. You guys can give me some more stuff. This is great. This is how you learn and grow. Okay. So those people, right? Engage with them differently. Engage with them differently to make them personally inspire them to get curious. It's like, right? They're already aware that there's something different going on within LDS cognitively. But now you need to approach it in a way that makes people aware, right? People like to feel understood. If you approach someone and receive their comments in an understanding way, and you truly understand the layers of depth that they are communicating to you, then they will naturally feel safe to engage more. Like, look what has occurred on my videos, right? I am not, like, right? I've already made it very clear I'm not going to change who I am. Like, nothing external to me is going to be the deciding factor to tell me what I'm going to do with my life, right? I already got enough rules that I got to follow being on this planet, okay? We all do. We all do, okay? Ugh. Like, anyway, I would even go into the semantics of being, y'all, do you know how challenging life is? Like, man, just every little thing. First off, I go through an ungodly amount of toilet paper. I live by myself. I have no idea what I use so much of it for. Like, how much toilet paper do I use? And I'm pretty sure I buy like I buy the expensive kind too, and that's why I get mad. Oh, I forgot that at the grocery store today. Shoot. I have toilet paper. I have paper towels, not toilet paper. Dang it. Yeah, but I'm just like, where does it all go? Where does it all go? I mean, obviously I'm aware of where it all goes, but it just goes so fast. And I don't know, like, do I use the back? I do drink a lot of water. But man, it's just like, ugh. I've even experimented before, like, I'll use like 1 square, or maybe I'll use like 1.5 squares, or maybe I, like, you know, like trying different ways, and just like, it just goes, it just disappears. And then now that I'm feeding her, like cooking for her, look at this. Actually, when we went to the gym, because we have like the toy donation bins, I put her into it because it was empty and she was being annoying, and so I just put her into the box and I left her, and people saw me put her in there, and they like yelled at me, and I was like, what? I donated to my dog. Anyways, donated my child. I abandoned her. Yeah, life is hard, y'all. Life is hard. I feel like a single dad. I feel like I'm a bachelor. Like missing my ex-wife. Y'all, tell me that's not me right now. Tell me that's not me. Okay. Like, bro, like, look at me, man. I got like shrimp crackers. I got my Book of Mormon. I got my fruit roll-up. I got my chapstick. What else do you need in life? What else does a man need? Y'all, I feel men more than I feel women, honestly. About lifestyle choices, at least. I would make a good man. I mean, I think anyone couldn't disagree there, guys. I would make the perfect bro that you would want to be friends with if I was a man. I would not want my name to be Sean. That would be gross. I was trying to think of like a male version of my name. What would I pick? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Well, that's what A-L. I'll do owl. Do I look like an owl? Ew, that sounds gross. We'll have to work on that. Okay. Let me get back to this. Yeah, so if you get people to feel like, right, make them feel welcome, make them laugh, make them blah, 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 right? Do that. They're going to get curious about the book. They're going to get curious about it. And then if you even tell them too, that's why I say, like, yo, there's layers in here. There's some good layers. And the surface is fun too. But there's so much more, like, you can do so much more with it. Even at the surface, you can do so much more with it. Okay, and then this is the message I wrote, right? Never expected this moment from, never Never expected this from a moment of doing drugs and choosing to pick this book. Def a book upgrade. Y'all, see? I'm telling ya. Moments of clarity. How can I give up the thing that led me to the Book of Mormon? Anyways, isn't that so funny though? It's like a full twist story. You're just like, damn. Yeah, my methods. Sometimes people's methods are a little bit atypical. But then again, look how extraordinary my cognition is, right? I think it's quite obvious that I am very peculiar with how I think. I'm trying to teach people how to perceive things like this, to operate at that level, right? Okay, you guys can do it. You guys can do it, and then you can just like go do whatever, like make your bumblebees and make a bunch of honey. You know, I love honey. And, you know, alcohol's here to stay, y'all. Like, oh yeah, that was the thing I wanted to say. Because the patterns, right? Because I talk about how extraordinary LDS is with their cognition and things like that, right? The patterns that they're demonstrating with their thought processes. However, right, those same patterns, those origin of movements, right? They're very, very peculiar for innovation and novel discovery. But they're also demonstrating, you guys are also demonstrating patterns that lead to very, very severe catastrophic turmoil and repercussions that occur back onto the paradigm itself based on lack of awareness towards what you are like spreading and like, right? Do you ever feel like you had like hit resistance sometimes to some things, you know? It kind of feels like, oh man, this is like really challenging, and like I feel like, you know, maybe this isn't the right vibe, right? This is maybe not the right direction to be going. Yeah, there's some very obvious things that I don't know if you guys are aware of that you guys are broadcasting that go along with that aspect. And it's kind of hard for you guys to get more recruits or get more efficiency, right? You can increase your efficiency if you, what's it called? We're aware of those. We're aware of those thresholds of where you can innovate, right? That's why I call them thresholds of innovation. Some things could be synonymous with like feedback. Some other things could be, what else could be? Right? There's different words you can use. So, because if the rest of the world kind of followed your train of thought as far as embracing the cognitive capacity, things will be extraordinary. And what I mean by that, by embracing the cognitive capacity, right? You guys have a very atypical way of thinking and perceiving things that is always, always correlated to novel discovery and innovation. If the rest of the world thought with the same type of logic, right? If the rest of the world thought kind of like to the same depths that I can, that I'm demonstrating, a lot of cool stuff happens. Because then you hit a point, right? Because that's why it's like, it's natural within your paradigm, right? Within your structure, your thought structure, you don't even have to talk to your kids about like not wanting to go kill something, right? Or like go shoot a human being, right? Because it's just not normal. Because you guys, none of you guys demonstrate that behavior. You guys probably also, I guarantee it, if you look at the statistics, you guys probably have lower rates of like health problems and like, what's it called? Yeah, just like comorbidities within your group, whatever, your community, right? It's because you guys naturally operate at a cognitive level that demonstrates that you value your own life and your existence, and you're willing to demonstrate and put forth effort to show that you value and your worth, your own self-worth. Okay? Like you feel like you're like, the more you treat your own existence as sacred and reverent to the things that to which you are expressing thankfulness for, the ideology behind your creation, the more you honor what is perceived to have been creating you, right? Does that make sense? right? The better you take care of, the better, right? Because the more you take care of, the more you value your own existence and worth, the more you are honoring and respecting the thing that the exist, whatever beliefs are for your source of creation, that type thing, right? So again, it's like, it's so cool. And you guys all do that. You guys demonstrate that more than the regular population, right? All of y'all are like fit. If you go into like an LDS like place, you don't really see anyone like really obese. You don't see anyone that's like kind of like overweight. You don't see anyone that just looks like, it's a different cognitive lens, right? It's almost as if you're walking into like, this is like a weird way to say it. There's like a cognitive, like, you know how like there's like the top 1% as far as like money goes, but there's a cognitive 1%. And I would say like LDS is like a cognitive, they've made themselves into a cognitive 1%. Does that make sense? Okay. And that's why across the board in general, right, the standard of life, the quality of life is higher. It's higher because you guys are just like innovative. You guys like just like take care of things. You value your things. You put forth effort into everything that you've been given. And it's really, really cool. And you can get even better at it if you guys became aware of how you talk to people or how you're perceived. That's why I'm here, yo. I'm like the colorful mirrors, giving it back to you. And that's why on some of the comments, I actually I started mirroring back, right? All I did was change the pronoun so I could let people be aware of how they're being perceived, right? Because some of the words that some people say, they're pretty easy to be contrived to like hurtful or dismissive or make someone like feel like down, like you're poking down at them, right? And so when I receive those types of words, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna flip it right back around, and I just did verbatim back at them, but I just switched the pronouns. Instead of saying me, I said LDS to help you guys become aware of what the message you are perceiving and portraying out to people, right? Because if you don't have awareness of how people are receiving that, it hurts to receive those things, right? It's jarring. You're like, oh, wait, those are my own words, except instead of me chastising you, you're chastising me. Oh, that's how I'm perceived. Oh, that's how it feels to receive these words. Do we see that now? Okay. That's another technique you could use too when you're coming back to someone. Anyways, it only works though in certain cases, right? It gets nuanced. You gotta be careful with that one. You can only use it oh so often. Okay. But he said this: my mother was raised a Methodist and found out her brother was baptized into the LDS church. So in the 1960s, she drove through the night with her husband, my dad, compiling a list of questions to ask her crazy Mormon brother, thoroughly intent on convincing him to leave the cult. Y'all, tell me that ain't like pure love, right? That is like demonstration, and we're going to go into it because this is the type of behavior, right, LDS demonstrates. His mom, who wasn't even LDS at the time, right? The brother coincidentally joins the church, right? Look at the mom's actions though. Immediately when she sensed that her brother was in danger, right, in harm's way, she drove and went to his side. How cool is that? Like, look how easy that is. Because within that family, right, they're already operating at a cognition where they already feel a connection with each other. Like, they respect each other. They show up for each other regardless. Like, whenever they perceive someone's in danger, they show up, right? But they're already operating at a high level of awareness. The brother demonstrated, right, by the time she had asked all those questions to my uncle, she was convinced she wanted to be baptized into the LDS church. Guys, do you not realize how extraordinary that is? Because that's what I want you guys to show and demonstrate on a daily routine basis in your comments and your feedback, right? In your everyday lives. The brother who joined the church, right? The sister who was coming to the rescue, who cared and loved, right? Operating at the same cognitive level. The brother recognized there's a misunderstanding occurring here between me and my sister. And I'm aware I can talk to her in a way that she's going to be able to understand. And guess what happened? She understood, and that's why she joined. Does everyone understand that? what fundamentally happened was he was able to explain himself in an understandable way that she understood, therefore she joined. And look at the type of level of effort she already demonstrated to try to come to the aid of her brother. Think about what kind of level of effort she's about to give to something that gave her a beautiful aha moment and clarity. Okay. Y'all, it takes a single instant in one person's life, a single second, a single moment, a single encounter, a single word, a single sentence, a single hug, a single look. It does not take much. It takes a small ripple, the tiniest ripple, right? A quantum wave, a single quantum wave of your entire existence, of the trillions of patterns of movement, of quantum waves that make your physical existence. One of those, right? That's smaller than a mustard seed. A mustard seed is catastrophically large compared to a single quantum wave that's occurring at the atomic, beyond close, less than the atomic level, y'all. This is below that. This is the foundational building blocks of where energy existence exists, where it starts. It just takes a single one of those, right? To change the course of a person's life. A single encounter, right? Bro, I was going to the book little drop off because I was, it was a beautiful summer day. I was out on my porch. I was just vibing. I had my headphones in. I think that one I actually bought legit weed. Not like this fake stuff over the counter, I think it was because when I went to California or something, I brought it back with me. And so I was just vibing, and I finished this book, and I was just man, this book is not it. There's the vibes are gone here. The novelty and the depth of gaining more understanding is gone from this about what I was searching for. And then I went to the book thing, right? And I saw this, and I've talked about the story multiple times, right? Just the only reason I picked it up was because I didn't, I was reading that random page, that was really funny. I picked it up because I wrote it off, and I was just huh. And I thought for a second, I said, why would I write it off? Does that not mean I should go look at it? That's what I want y'all to do, right? Challenge yourself. Anyways, I'm going to go back to the story. By the time she had asked all of those questions to my uncle, she was convinced she wanted to be baptized into the LDS church, right? The first thing she did when she got home was call the local church number in the phone book. A chapel had been built in the year before, just 15 minutes from her house in Hingham, Massachusetts. Coincidentally, one of the wards or the stakes were built 15 minutes from her house just a year ago. Does everyone see how extraordinary that coincidence is? Wow, what a coinkydink, right? That's a beautiful little lineup there. One small thing, right? Who knows who made that decision within the LDS framework, the LDS church? Who made that decision to pick that spot, to build that church, and however many years ago, right? That might have been an afterthought. That might have been something that someone did in a meeting, because they do it over and over again, multiple times, looking at different sites. It's their job just to do something with picking zones or picking locations for building churches, right? That moment now, has led to this moment now. Does everyone see how much people played into this, right? The construction crews that went out to help build that place. The initial people, right? All these things. Oh, so cool. And in Massachusetts, y'all. Oh, I love Boston, though. Boston's dope. I would love to go speak or talk to people at Avi Loeb about philosophy and stuff. Anyway. The phone number was the bishop's home, and his wife answered. My mom said, "Hi, I would like to be baptized." Look at that confidence. That woman already spoke with authority. She was can you imagine a stranger's calling you up, right? After hearing all this. This woman was like, I'm doing this. And she called and said, I would like to be baptized. Not like, hey, how do I do it? Hey, can I get information on, I heard about this thing and I want to, become more blah, blah, blah. Was there a process? She says, I would like to be baptized. Period. Okay. The bishop's wife was thrilled, and told my mom that he would contact her after he got home from work. The lives of our family members have been immeasurably blessed from that car drive, discussion, change of heart, and phone call. Yes, and even more so than that, right? The coincidence that I keep wanting to call them synagogue, tabernacles, right? You call them tabernacles, I think. The tabernacle, whatever, was built just 15 minutes from her house, like just a year prior, right? The planning that went into that, like that, there's a huge trickle effect. All the people that coincidentally served in those positions to make the planning to even make that building to be put there, coincidentally a year prior to when she was doing that, right? All these threads, everyone's story is just like this. Every human being in existence has a story just like this. About their faith, about Judaism, about why they chose to become a doctor, about why they chose to go into plumbing, about why they chose to drop out of college, about why they chose to commit suicide, right? About why they chose to go into banking, about why they chose to pick Hinduism, about why they chose to pick Christianity, right? Everything. So many beautiful tapestries. What humanity has weaved with their existence and every action and every ripple is just a beautiful fabric that shimmers like more vast than if you looked at the sky and there was no light pollution and you could see the totality of the cosmos and heavens without any sort of influence from humanity, except for to perceive it with the naked eye. What humanity has done and accomplished with their actions, each individual life, and what they have woven is just so much more surreal and beautiful than what you could perceive when you look at that. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Anyways, and it'd be more beautiful if the whole species could acted like dum-dums. I digress. Where was I at? My mother was raised Methodist, and my parents raised 8 children in the faith. After my dad died, Mom served 3 full-time missions, and the legacy of service to the Lord has been passed down to her children and grandchildren. I spent 2 glorious years in Panama teaching people about Jesus Christ, his restored church, the power of the Bible, and the Book of Mormon. The blessing of modern-day prophets and the plan of salvation that our Father in heaven has done for all his beloved king. My wife and I have 7 children of our own, and my oldest daughter spent 18 months in Syracuse, New York. My oldest son served 2 years in Bahia Blanca, Argentina. Bahia? I don't know how to say that. Bahia. I was pronouncing, Arabic way. And my second oldest daughter is in the process of submitting her mission papers and will soon find out where she'll be serving. To say nothing of my 7 siblings and their children who have also served close to 15 other full-time missions across the world. Guys, can everyone perceive the roots of where he came from, right? The actions of his mom and his dad. They're extraordinary people that demonstrated extraordinary effort before they encountered LDS. And then once they encountered LDS, they took off. They hit their stride and they took off, right? And that single ripple, right? That single ripple, that single action where she was acting arguably out of love, right? Out of a fear of loss, though, right? It gets tricky. That's why fear and love are just the, what's the saying? Different sides of the same coin. Yes, fear and love, they're synonymous. It's just like the only thing that's different between the movement pattern is freaking human perception, human understanding of it, and direction maybe, and orientation, right? Anywho, because of that, a huge web, a huge tree, a huge cascade, a huge one single ripple, one single life, one single action turned into a huge ripple, a huge wave, right? His parents raised 8 kids. He had 8 siblings, and then this dude had 7 kids of his own. First off, I feel so bad for your wives, man. Dude. I could not. To be pregnant and push that many things out of your vagina. I hope all of y'all are present for every single one of those. And if you aren't present, don't you have a word of excuse out of your mouth. Don't say anything other than that. Just take accountability for missing it. Just say, take accountability for it. Because you know what? Bro, if I can tell the Air Force that when my dad needed a kidney and I was going to leave, regardless of what they said, I was like, I don't care what you guys say. If I don't have leave, you can call me AWOL, you can do whatever you want. Because no one's going to tell me or stop me from going to help my father when he needs me. Like, period. I told it to the Air Force. And there was nothing they could do about it. And then coincidentally, that's when all my hospital stuff happened. So they got lucky. But, right? If anyone's job or anyone's work doesn't let you go or you can't make it back, right? I understand like airline travel and stuff. But don't ever use an excuse. If you miss your wife, the birth of your child, of your creation, if you didn't have enough respect for the creation of something that you made to be there, physically present, I hope you were present for all of them, man. I apologize for anyone if I made them feel bad. But yo, those are the standards. That is the respect. If you truly see your wives and your kids as sacred gifts, then you better treat them and you better demonstrate it with your actions. Let me just say that. Show your worth. Anyways, okay. Not talking about you. I think I'm just talking about men in general, right? I'm tired of you know, like I don't know. We can all treat each other with a little bit more reverence and respect. Let's just say that. In both directions. Okay? In both directions. In all directions, actually. In 360 degrees. We can all treat each other with more respect and dignity and sacredness and reverence. To include ourselves. I think a lot of people forget to include themselves. Okay. Anyways. And then he says, thanks again for your honest and authentic approach. It's a joy to watch someone, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is what I wrote back to him. I'm getting a little long-winded, I realize already. Thank you for the wonderful email and sharing of your thoughts and words. I'm honestly a bit bummed I don't get more of the type of interaction you mentioned, right, with the heretics and things like that, like the people that come in hot, because those people, y'all, those people are the ones that are desperately seeking support, solace, and comfort and understanding, right? Those are the people that are most likely going to continue coming back because they are so desperate for anyone and they see you guys as their opportunity to be understood and to feel supported and accepted and belong for wherever they're at. And that's what I mean, right? You guys have the capacity, right? People come to things when they feel seen and understood, right? If you can meet anyone wherever they're at and explain to them and articulate to them and understand them and demonstrate that you understand them, they will desire to understand you. They will desire to be a part of you because you first made them feel understood and seen. That is how you build any sort of connection. You foster cognitive growth. You foster that depth. You foster that sense of value and worth for another human being's life, right? Anyways, this is what I wrote. Because those are the real fun and whimsy opportunities to demonstrate understanding, right? Because those people, right, those the trolls and stuff, that's why I got so excited when I got a couple of them. Because it's my opportunity to demonstrate how great like how much like capacity of cognitive depth I have and understanding I have, y'all. Like, I'm aware that how I handle trolls and things like that, haters and whatever, I'm aware I handle them very extraordinarily. Yes. It's almost as if I understand something. I wonder what I understand. Anywho, it's rather common for people to respond back or ignore those utilizing words like cult and heretic, but it's more of a challenge to transform it into a chance to connect with another human that exists behind their chosen words, right? Because those people are not utilizing their words. Look at it as the words people choose to articulate themselves are them demonstrating where their level of understanding is at. How much do they value their own life? The words people choose to talk about others is how they talk to themselves. Okay? When people utilize words that are very derogatory or belittling, things like that, that is how they speak to themselves, guys. That is the level that they view it and perceive themselves. That is how valuable they feel about themselves, which is why they use those words. If they're using those words, that means their thoughts are using those words too. Same concepts, same thought concepts, okay? It helps me to meet those people by encouraging them to express themselves more openly and perhaps with more explanation of their thoughts and feelings. People don't create nor engage unless they've become inspired. And if 98% of your comments are people approaching from that angle, it is a signal flare that you personally have inspired in them a thought of intrigue about one you, and by association, LDS. However, they don't want to be perceived as weird, abnormal, or in any derogatory light to what they're normally familiar with, right? Their normal environment. So they articulate their thoughts in a very specific way to hide their own insecurities and fears. People tend to feel like they belong if they follow the cultural norms of their chosen environment. But if those comments are basically them showing you proof that you are operating in a cognitive environment that they've become bored or uninterested in, or that show them proof that they are operating in a cognitive environment, right? That's why they're coming out and like trolling and seeking you out, right? Because they are bored, they're looking for something else. And you intrigue them. LDS intrigues them, which is why they seek contrast through engagement. Does everyone understand how that works, right? People don't engage unless they feel inspired to do so. And let me tell you, engagement in a way that uplifts and empowers and makes people feel as if they are seen and have worth and value and understood, they are more likely to open up and be curious about what you have to say compared to if you approach them and talk to them like, you know, whatever, you like override them, you fight back with them, you meet them with the same level of misunderstanding they're doing, right? Isn't learning fun? Y'all, you should have seen me going through the learning curve of figuring this one out. Ooh, no one taught me this, yo. I had to stumble through figuring out how to think. Learning how thought works, very challenging. But I'm giving it all away for free, y'all. And look, some of y'all are like literally turning around in like 24 to 48 hours and demonstrating just like super depth of just awareness. Ugh. And honestly, the quilt person, I can't wait till the quilt comes. I'll make a video opening it. Because literally like the first person I've ran into for a hot minute. That truly, right? Because I see everyone as super beautiful and extraordinary. She's the first person like I truly felt operated at the same depth of cognition and could perceive what I perceive. And she understood every single word with like clarity of what I was saying. And I was like, yes. You're amazing. Man, I had my bet on the Catholics, yo. Dude, not even like the love of my life could do that. I was like shocked. I was totally shocked. I'd never anticipated it would ever come for an LDS woman. Like the first time that I truly felt understood in my existence was like that person. And I was just like, the words they utilize and everything, like way better. Oh, I love my boo-boo, but man, she did way better. She did way better at like articulating and expressing and demonstrating that she understood me, right? It was dope. It was so dope to like feel understood and like seen, you know? Oh, it was great. Anywho, okay. I love the story of what your mom and dad did. That is totally expected and normal behavior, right? Like going to go save him, especially when people express sacred and reverent levels of love, right? The only reason, right? She heard that her brother was joining what she thought was a cult. Look what it had inspired her to do. How it inspired her to act, and look at that beautiful cascade and that story arc that occurred, right? Existence, right? The concept of God. You guys like to, that like loves to make these beautiful story arcs, right? These beautiful flowing patterns of things. And the whole plot twist makes an even greater story of growth and expansion of cognition that rippled beyond a single decision. From hearing a little about your own mother's life story, it doesn't surprise me she accomplished so much in such a short period of time, of linear time. It's always extraordinary to see how the effort of a single life can impact and touch thousands, if not millions of lives across the planet. It is clear you are also continuing what she demonstrated by putting forth extraordinary effort towards your own endeavors and showing up with resilience and temperance in dealing with your unique life opportunities. The wave is most certainly still propagating, especially since your own children are now demonstrating the same quality traits you utilize. What? Where do you think his kids learn those traits from, if not him, right? Actions speak louder than words. Words are cheap. When you perceive your children succeeding, when you perceive your children struggling, that is a reflection of you, what you have demonstrated to them, right? They inherit their logic and their thought processes from the people that created them. And coincidentally, that happened to be mom and dad, right? It is one of the most sacred things, right? To have the title of mother or father, right? Go walk around at a cemetery if you don't understand what I'm saying, and look for the two words that are the most common, that you will see repeated the most out of all the cemetery, right? Besides a label of a name and some numbers, the only other thing that is most repeated, right, is mother or father. I saw that more than I saw crosses. That's cool to me, right? Because a cross symbolizes death. Mother, father, to me, is like symbolic of just like reverence and respect and honoring like that privilege and that label. Like it just shows like how like sacred it is. And so anyone that does that, right, is just like, that is given that opportunity. It's truly remarkable. And I said, thank you for the PS. Oh yeah, because he said PS. To give you an idea of how your influence is spreading, I was visiting a member of our local ward this past week in his home, and out of the blue, he mentioned you and your YouTube channel. I thought it was neat. Yeah, man, that's cool, because I want people to feel inspired. We're partners, y'all. You can't get rid of me. I laminated a card. You guys don't realize, once I laminate something, it's permanent. And if the lamination fails, I have another laminator. Or I have more. Right? I can just relaminate it. I have the machine. You're not going to get rid of me. Sorry. So, really, like, it is what it is, guys. That's how love works. Once I love something, it's stuck with me. You're stuck with me. I'm the best dark light that could have ever been gifted to you guys. Right? Tell me this isn't fun, y'all. Tell me this isn't fun. Anywho, okay. This was good. But I will upload this and then gonna go walk my dog. Peace be with you. Oh, still trying to fly away.